Live at the Kanavos show with your host, Kat.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're here with us today. And that was our incredible producer, Rachel Love. And yeah, that music was kind of like the circus came to town because it took us a while to get on today. Sometimes that happens, but we're so glad that you're here. We've got an incredible show lined up for you. And our guest today is Lori Boyle, who is a retired international airline pilot living on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And Cape Cod is where I am when I'm not traveling everywhere else. Right now I'm in California, but I'll be back on the Cape in June. So as an international airline pilot, Lori actually flew 747s and MD-11s, and those are called heavy jets. So welcome to the show, Lori Boyle.
Hi, Kat. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here and see you on the other side of the country.
We're so happy we finally got you on, and we're on, and everything's going. It's amazing. The only person I can seem to see today is me, but that's a good start. So, Lori, tell us a little bit about your life as a female pilot flying huge airlines. How did that start out? Where did that ever cross your mind to become this?
Well, actually, I had thought about it, most of my time growing up because my dad did work for the airlines. He wasn't a pilot, but he did work for the airlines. And we used to go on a lot of trips as kids. And I just thought that it was great. But I never thought I was going to be able to do that because I never saw a woman do it. And then I was in my Spanish class in the 10th grade, and this other guy was telling me that he's taking flying lessons. And I was like, are we old enough for that? I had no idea. And he said, well, yeah. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it too, So I ran home. I told my father. It was almost my birthday, and my brother's birthday and mine are close together. So he took us down to the airport where we had a flight. And I loved it, and my brother threw up, so that didn't go so well for him, but it went great for me, so I started taking flying lessons, and then, it went off from there. I went to college after high school. I got my private license in high school, and then I went on to college and got a degree in business, and then I was able to work and fly and pay for my licenses, and you go on from there. You become a flight instructor, and then I flew air ambulance for a little while, and then I went to a United Express carrier, and then I went on to the 747 and the MD-11. So that's how that worked.
Wow. So you said that you actually flew ambulance?
Air ambulance, yeah.
Tell us about that. What is it?
Well, it was a Cessna 414, which is a pretty large light airplane with 2 engines, and we had it fitted for a stretcher, and we also had it fitted for a little neonatal unit if we had to fly infants. And usually what we did was we flew patients who got injured or got sick in other places and came back to the California hospital. Like, for example, they live in Santa Monica, and their insurance and their hospital is there, but they went up to Utah and broke their leg. So when they're ready to transport, we go get them and bring them back. So we didn't really have any. We usually did that kind of thing. It was a real controlled environment. And we had to keep the airplane really cold too, because we didn't want that helps with nausea. If the patient is having any kind of problem, we kept the airplane really cold. So
what did you guys do up in the cockpit then? Did you wear your fur coats?
Oh yeah, we did. Everybody was in layers and ready to fly in the cold. That's what we had to do. So it was interesting.
So what was like one of your most interesting stories when it came to rescuing people with the Cessna?
Oh, we really were transport for stable patients. We didn't do any, emergency kind of flying like that. But we did, so I don't really have any stories for that because it was really people who got injured or who were sick or maybe had a heart attack or something, and we flew a stabilized patient from one place to another. That was more our work that we did. Helicopters usually do that really, immediate stuff where they have to get like from the Cape up to a hospital in Boston, and they take them by helicopter and land on the roof of the hospital and things like that. They do the more, exciting kind of thing like that.
So tell us, what was it like being a woman flying these huge planes as the pilot? Give us an example of how you felt. First of all, the other pilots, how did they treat you? Because I would imagine most of them were men, right? Were most of them men?
Yeah, most of them were men, but there were a few women. And I think looking back on it, maybe being in California is a little more progressive in their thinking. So there were, I wasn't like the only one. I mean, there were other female flight instructors we had, and, three or four or something like that. So I wasn't out there all by myself, but so I really didn't have any problems like that too much. The passengers, on the other hand, were a little startled sometimes. I had this one guy. I was standing outside of the when it was West Air United Express airplane. It's like a 19-passenger prop airplane, and I had a sweater on, and that's okay for our uniform. We can put a sweater over our shirt with the epaulets and our name tag and the wings and everything, and because it was cold. And the guy came up to me and he said, "Where are your wings?" He was like really like in an angry way. And I pointed at one wing on the airplane. I said, "There's one, and there's another one on the other side." And he wasn't amused, but I thought it was kind of funny.
What about the pilots? How did they respond to you? Were they like, were they, embracing of you? Were they glad to see a woman pilot in these planes? Because this was mostly a man-oriented, almost like a fraternity. And here you came along, little sorority girl, and kind of crashed their party.
Yeah, we kind of did, but other women paved the way. The first airline pilot actually started with Frontier Airlines. That's out of Denver in 1979. That was the year I graduated from high school. And I had never heard of her until many, like 20, 25 years later. I got to meet her, and she eventually went over to the FAA and finished out her career there. But she was the very first, and it was really exciting to meet her. That that was also the year I got my private license, that she became a pilot for them, the first one. So that was exciting. So people paved the way before I got there, so it wasn't too tough. I think the funny thing was that I think the men who had daughters were more welcoming of me than, I found that, if they had daughters, they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, come on," and then some people just didn't care. And then others, tolerated me. So
I know you, Lori. It's hard not to tolerate you. I mean, so I know that you told me once about, there were some very dangerous areas where you had to bring some very big planes into. Do you want to share one of those stories with us?
Well, yeah, we went to some places that, weren't that safe. I mean, you wouldn't really want to walk around like Bogota, Colombia, and places like that. I mean, we stayed safe because we stayed together. We stayed in the hotel, and we were able to take care of that. We didn't go anywhere that was fighting in the streets or anything like that. So we were all right.
So you kind of stayed together as a unit, and then you were safe.
Yeah, we did. We did. We stayed together.
Hmm. So right now you're kind of using the degree that you got in school as a columnist in Women's Voices magazine. Is that right?
Yes, my business degree. Yes, Women's Voices magazine is a great magazine. It has a lot of followers. Kat, how many followers does it have? It's like 60 or 70,000.
Oh no, it's got close to 1 million now. It's growing like crazy.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
Brenda
it's huge.
is doing a great job. Yeah. So my column is Begin Where You Are Now, and it's for people in transition. I've had columns about people who have been downsized or found themselves unemployed or their job has been outsourced. And what do they do now? It was just such a shock. I guess it was around like 2008 is when a lot of people were getting laid off and the economy was shrinking and we had all those problems. There were a lot of baby boomers who had to make the transition and reinvent themselves. So that's really what my column is about, reinventing yourself and overcoming obstacles in your career, in your life. And I try to profile people who have done that and done it successfully and talk about what do the rest of us do? How can we make that happen too? So.
And yeah, so one of the things that we're doing together on Cape Cod is we have the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod radio and TV, and so that was kind of a change for us too because I quit working basically when shortly after I got married. My husband made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He paid me more to stay home than to work. So, and so for a long time I didn't work. And then, the idea of Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod came up and you came up with that idea. So, give us a little bit of the nexus about how that came about.
Well, your book came out in, I think it was March of 2014, wasn't it? Is that when your book came out?
March or April. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you probably know more about it than I do. It's like giving birth. Once you've given birth to a book, your mind shuts it off. It doesn't want to be a part of it anymore.
So when you had your book released, I thought, hey, I should call around and see if I can get somewhere for you to talk, sign your book, things like that. So I was calling the libraries and the bookshops and things like that. And somehow or other, I came across public access television, which I never even heard of. I didn't know anything about it. And then when I started to read their website, they were saying, we'll teach you everything about television production, soup to nuts, and you can have your own show. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, 25 years, and the competition out there for television and being able to learn that stuff and everything is incredible. And here on Cape Cod, they're going to teach me for next to nothing. It was crazy. So Kat and I went down and we signed up and we started our classes. And then we decided to fast track it because we were going to have our own show. And Kat said, it's got to be housewives. We've got to be housewives. And I was like, no way. We're not going to pull each other's hair, turn tables over and argue. She goes, no. We're going to have a talk show. I go, okay. And then we went to one of our favorite restaurants post production one night. And it's the Dolphin. It's on 6A in Barnstable, and over the kitchen it had a sign that said Wicked Kitchen, and I thought we're going to be the Wicked Housewives. So, and if you're not familiar with New England and Cape Cod, wicked is a colloquialism. Everything is wicked cool, wicked good.
Wicked pissa.
It's used all the time. I think that word was around before I even grew up. So. Wicked is a colloquialism around here, so it doesn't mean bad. It actually means great. So we became the Housewives, and our show is actually a talk show, And the premise is ordinary people who do extraordinary things. And we've had some great guests. We've had some authors, we've had pilots, we've had other talk show hosts and many other things. And we also do our cooking episodes. And that was part of Kat's book. Kat has another cookbook that's going to come out, and it's called Quickie Cooking for Healthy People. And that's what it is. It's 15 minutes or less, and it's healthy, and it's organic, and we'll show you how to do it right on our show. So there's a lot of good things.
And you can go to Wicked Housewives, the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod Facebook page.
Yes.
And Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod on Facebook. And we also have the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod radio show, and that's another Facebook page too. So you can listen to some of the show hosts. But I remember one time when Lori and I were on the stage and we were doing a barbecue show. There were a couple that you just had to laugh because nothing went right. It was like Loki, the god of everything that could go wrong, was living right there in our toaster oven. And so Lori was busy doing, I think it was an appetizer for the 4th of July, and we were filming it, and we had the champagne there because we were going to have champagne with the appetizer, and the lights, the studio lights, this is a real TV studio with 3 HD cameras and lights everywhere. Got so hot, the champagne bottle exploded, and when it did, we didn't know where the cork went. We were just praying that it wasn't going to take a light out, and we were filming, so we couldn't stop. And, we never did find that cork, did we?
No, it's probably still there.
I have no idea where it is, somewhere up on the roof somewhere. So, that's a lot of fun. And Lori was great at getting me talking engagements for my book. And I think, remember the time we went to one of the, where was that we went? We went to senior center. It was a senior center.
Oh,
and
right. Uh-huh.
yeah, they served dinner there, and they warned me. They said, as soon as dinner's over, you're going to be talking during dinner. The people are going to just get up and leave. You might have 2 people there after dinner. But we were pleasantly surprised. The whole room stayed. Maybe one person left with their little walker, but they all stayed, and we had a hot seat in the front. We brought this woman up who had a dream, and we put her in the hot seat. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was great because Kat's book is not mainstream. I mean, your book isn't really even about cancer. It's about your connection with God and with your spiritual side and all that stuff. And that sometimes, doesn't play so well on Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to burn people who thought like that,
That's right. Yeah.
They used to burn them at the stake. It was wicked.
And she really did say, everyone's going to get up and leave. But we had a captive audience because they were eating dinner. We went at the dinner hour, so they couldn't leave until they were finished. And then it was amazing how they all stayed and they all asked questions, and it was great. I didn't think that was going to be the audience, but it really did go well.
Yeah, sometimes you're surprised. I mean, we put a chair up in the front. Lori said, I don't think any of those people are going to come up here and sit in this chair and talk about their dreams to the rest of this room. We are on Cape Cod. And sure enough, this little lady came up. She goes, oh, I had a dream. I want to come talk about my dream. And we're like, yeah, right. Come on up here and sit down. And she talked about how she'd had a dream about moving to Florida. And what did I think that dream meant? And some man raised his hands in there, and he goes, you've been talking about moving to Florida for the past 3 months. That dream's telling you to do it. And we never saw her again. So we're thinking she did it. Just packed up her bags and left.
No, but I think that's great stuff, though. I mean, because people don't even really think about it to interpret their dream. And that's really what the book is about, because your dreams told you had cancer when the doctors were saying you're fine, go home. And it just kind of opens up a different world when you start thinking these dreams have some kind of message, and then you go, maybe they do,
Yeah, I mean, the messages in your dreams, seriously. If you have a precognitive dream or you've got a dream where you get information that, that you need to immediately figure out and respond to, you can change the course of history to a degree. If you think about it, if you think about the butterfly, idea of the wings in Asia flapping can have an effect in the United States. Well, when you change the course of your life by listening to a dream and not dying, like if I hadn't listened to my spirit guides dressed like monks, in the dream. I mean, who wants to see a monk in their dream? Raise your hand. Yeah, I don't see any hands going up. So by listening to those dreams, though, and going back to my doctors and saying, I know something's wrong, I need a different set of tests, not taking no for an answer, not being dismissed, being that woman who stands in her power, speaks her truth, and says, if you want me out of your waiting room, you're going to have to drag me out by the heels of my feet because otherwise I'm not going. That changed the course of history because I didn't die. I'm still here. Right. And I would have died because the second time the recurrence was a 9 by 11 centimeter tumor that they missed again. And the dreams told me about. So that brings us to, tell us about your Lori Boyle Media. And what are you doing to use that to help other women, not just me? Lori doesn't just help me. She helps a lot of women.
Well, we have our other radio show hosts. We have a great selection of radio show hosts. I'm so proud of them. We have Deb O'Brien, who wrote a book, Bliss Behind the Mask, about her battle with addiction and alcoholism and how she transcended it and, healed herself really of that terrible addiction. But, it almost cost her life to do it. But she has a show, and her show is called Wicked Addictions. And then we have Kim Richard, who does bridal on Cape Cod. She does all their makeup and she does skincare and things like that. And her show is Wicked Blushing Brides. And I learn something every time I listen to it. I'm like, really? I should be using that cream? And, she has a lot of good tricks. And then we have Roxanne Pappas. She is the Wicked Energy Lady. She's for Viridian. And here in Massachusetts, you have a choice where you're going to get your power. And Viridian is clean energy from American-made energy, wind, solar, and
other sources. And then we have a couple of guys. We
can't leave them out.
Can't leave them out. Greg Durrett, who does Wicked Insurance Matters, and he is so funny, and he uses all kinds of sound effects in his show that it makes it a really good show. It's not boring at all. You might think insurance, but nope, it's not boring. And we have Russ Ellis, who does Wicked Duct Tape, and he wrote a book called Duct Tape Won't Fix This, about his child who's had cancer her whole life. So, and he does a show on that and how, it's important for men to communicate as well as women and to make them better communicators with their family. So they're all doing great things, and I'm so proud of them.
And you've got your show, too. You didn't tell anybody about your show.
Oh, yeah. I got my show, Lori Boyle Radio, which really what I've been doing mostly was, I'm just such a great promoter. I'll promote everyone else,
She doesn't promote herself. She just gets in there and promotes all the women. Yeah, and all the guys, actually. Most of the guys on our shows can really embrace their inner woman. And like Russell, he's just such a big Pooh Bear. And his whole show is about how, men need an outlet to talk about what they're going through. And they've got to hold their family together when the child is sick, and how it does tear families to pieces. And his show is about, hey, if you're a guy and you're going through this, give us a call onto the radio show or come onto the radio show and help us other guys know how to get through this, because big guys do cry, and they need to cry, and they need to connect with that inner woman, because otherwise life is too one-sided, and it's off balance. So Lori, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you if they'd like to know more about you, what you do, where you are, all of that.
Okay, I should say what we do, though. And I do a lot of work with Kat as well, but we do public relations, we do press kits, we do websites, and also we, if you want to be on television or radio, we groom you to be on TV and radio, and we have different packages and we can do anything really that fits your budget or fits your business. It doesn't matter what your business is. You can have a radio show to promote your business. But anyway, that is all on LoriBoyleMedia.com. It's you can see our radio show hosts and learn more about them at WickedHousewivesOnCapeCod.com. You can also see them on LoriBoyleMedia.com. And you can email me at LoriBoyle@rocketmail.com. That's ROCKET, Rocket Mail. So yeah, I'd love to hear from anybody who has any ideas for the shows or has any comments or questions. Absolutely. Email me. I'd love to hear from you.
So we only have a few minutes left, but I wanted to ask you, as a female entrepreneur, where do you see your business going, like 5 years from now, or even just next year? And how do you see that as helping other women, especially the ones who are some of them are in a life crisis right now because they've been let go from their work or they're getting divorced. It's very difficult for a woman in our day and age at this time, what's going on with the economy and everything, to find her footing when her life changes as much as so many of them are. So how do you see what you're doing being able to help them, and where you see your business going?
Well, I really just hope to expand the business and help as many people as I possibly can. And, knowing how to present yourself on television or present yourself on radio is good for your business presentation. And because everyone who has their own business, they're a salesperson. And so that kind of grooming kind of goes with that. We also have seminars that I'm really proud of. We have, Kat and I do a social media boot camp where we show entrepreneurs how to use the social media, and that's big on Cape Cod because nobody knows how to use it, and most people maybe they don't even have a computer. We found out when we did our first camp. they came our boot camp with no computer, so we're sort of starting at page 1, and then we have one called How to Write Your Book. And we might turn that into a cruise where we'll teach it on a cruise ship. And we have Retreat for the Soul, which is a lot of fun because we do a dream interpretation on that one. And I do something about the subconscious mind and how it works and how you can use it to make it work for you. So we do a lot of stuff. So you might want to check WickedHousewivesOnCapeCod.com for all these upcoming events. And if you visit Cape Cod, definitely come and see us.
Most of our groups, I don't think we've had, when we did the SEO optimization, we actually did have a couple of guys in the group, but most of it's women, and we party. It's like having, a little sorority party there. And
right.
And when I do when we do the Retreat for the Soul, I actually take the dreams from the people who are there. We do dream therapy using masks that I've collected from all over the world whenever I was traveling, and I would come back with these really cool looking masks. You may be able to see some of them behind me. I've got them all over my walls, and I just have, like a great time with my masks. Like here's one right here. Imagine putting this mask on your face and then talking about your dream. And it's amazing how, the colors or the feathers, like, with my guides giving me feathers, the feathers might trigger something. So that's always great. And for those of you listening in, if you don't have a dream journal, get one. put it beside your bed. Start writing down your dreams, because as you listen to these Skype shows, it may start to trigger your dreams. So, Lori, we're down to our last couple of minutes. So what would you like to leave our audience with tonight? What final thought would you like to share with them?
Well, a lot of people ask me, like, well, how did you start flying, and how did you get into television and things like that? And what I tell them is just start. A lot of people hem and haw and ask other people for advice and stuff like that. And if you really want to do it, just go ahead and do it. Go to where they're doing whatever it is you want to do, or find people either through YouTube or Facebook or wherever, and go do whatever it is that is in your heart, is that you're ready for, that you've always wanted to do. Go do it. Find a way to make that happen for yourself, because, that's what life is all about. It's, you have to be in harmony with yourself if you're going to succeed. So if you're doing something you really hate, but you have to do it to make a living, that's one thing. But give yourself that other thing, whatever it is. You want to play an instrument, or, coach a team, or be on a team, or something like that. Just, go do it. You can do baby steps, but it can really improve your life.
Yeah, life is short. Eat dessert first and only do what makes you happy. And if what you're doing is not making you happy, either change what you're doing or change your perception and find the happiness in it. And I know that Lori does that, because I watch her do it all the time, and it's in her column, and it's one of the things I love about her so much. She just doesn't let stuff get her down. She will find a way to make it work and make it happy and make it fun. And when we're on that, and when we're filming that TV show and something explodes or something falls apart, you just keep going and pretend like it was supposed to do that.
That's
so right. Lori, I want to thank you so much for being on the show with us today. And I really want to thank our producer, Rachel Love, because she made all this happen, and it took us a little while to get on because we were having some Skype issues, but we're here, we're with you, and we really hope you're going to come and tune in again next Monday for our surprise guest. And I will be putting that guest on the Kanavos show for this show, the Skype show. So you can go to Facebook and look for the Kanavos show, and I will have the guests up there. So again, thank you all for being here with us tonight. We're so glad we could have shared this time with you, and we hope you'll be with us again next Monday. Till then, have a great week.